Welcome class. Today I am just going to discuss with you the next concept in the unit 3, the integrated logistics. What kind of integration is essential to make a wise, optimized logistics decision making? For the most part, managers confront any kind of new challenging assignments when they are asked to participate in logistical system re-engineering. Because the rapid rate of change in almost every facet of our logical operations, the managers can expect a considerable discontinuity when they try to use previous experiences to guide the creation and integration of new logistical competencies. So success or failure of any kind of logistical decision that depends on how well the planning team is able to quantify the forces at the work and rationalize them into a logical and believable action plan. And we have at one end the comprehensive understanding of all theoretical concepts, constructs, which needs to be integrated for concepts, or if you want to make a conceptualized based, irrational, integrated strategy for logistics. So far in the first two units, what we discussed, logistics strategy was defined as achieving the least total cost operations, as well as the simultaneously, which is maintaining the customer flexibility. Flexibility, what I mean here, is the key to provide high-level basic customer service while maintaining sufficient operating capacity to meet and exceed the key customer expectation. This is what we mean here. Integration is required at two operating levels. First, the operating area of logistics must be integrated across a network of facilities, support of market distribution, manufacturing, and procurement requirements. So such network integration is essential if a firm is using logistical competency to gain the competitive advantage. This is the first part. Second, integration must extend beyond a single firm by supporting relationship across the supply chain, the unit. So this discussion, we are going to have it today under the third unit, which presents you a framework to assist the managers in achieving such integration. So we are going to see the kind of integrated logistics under different heads today. Let me start with the first heading of our topic of our discussion, enterprise facility network. So prior to the availability of low-cost, dependable surface transportation, most of the world's commerce relied on movement by the water. It means in the early period, commercial activity connected by port cities and the overland transport of goods was comparatively costly and slow. Say in the earlier days, the lead time to order a kind of a custom clothing from continental United States, it could exceed 9 months time. Later, the evolution and the revolution begin, and today the transportation system in the country is highly developed network of rail, water, air, highway, and even the pipeline services. And each transport alternative provides a different type of service for use within our logistical system. This availability of economical transportation creates the opportunity at the maybe to establish a competitively superior facility network to service the customers. So the importance of location network analysis. So how to make this is possible? Link it with the integrated logistics strategy. So the importance of location network analysis has been recognized since from the 19th century. There are many researchers have come out with determinant of economic development was the price of the land and cost to transport products from farm to market, which were of focus on those days. And the value of the land was viewed as being directly related to the cost of the transportation and the ability of a product to command an adequate price to cover all the costs and result in profitable operations. Maybe Van Toonens and Alfred Weber, they've all come out with a lot of ideas on covering the geographical area by the shortest route by adding linear wide distance transportation cost as one of the important costs which has to be considered while taking our logistics strategy or any decision. Weber developed a scheme to classify the major materials either ubiquitous or localized, which means ubiquitous means the materials which are available all over the world, that is any locations you can find the material. Localized raw materials consist of mineral deposits found only at the selected places. So on this basis the Weber has developed material index. This the ratio of the localized raw material compared what is the proportion of the ubiquitous material versus the localized material. And various industry were identified, assigned a locational weight based on the material index. So this kind of researchers have made the logistics to integrate itself with its own various internal functions. So first to start with the spectrum of location decision, because that alone that has its own consequence in other internal functions. Say the location is relating with inventory, the type of warehouse you're keeping, the mode of transport the company is choosing. So this location decision will internally affect the other functionality of the logistics. So let us have a discussion on the first function, location. In terms of logistical operations or planning, transportation offers the potential to link geographically dispersed manufacturing, warehouses, and market locations into an integrated system. So logistical system facilities includes all the locations at which the materials, the work in process, or the finished inventories are handled or stored. So if you look into the retail stores, finished goods warehouses, manufacturing plants, and material storage warehouses or the logistical network locations. So for your understanding, I'll repeat the point once again. All retail stores, the finished goods warehouses, manufacturing plants, and material storage warehouses, these are all considered as logistical network locations. It follows that the selection of any individual locations or overall location network, it represents the competitive and cost-related logistical decision. Say the earlier example of General Motors' decision to build a new assembly plant in a specific place. It spanned over 5 years to make it into a reality, right? And There are some warehouse arrangement at contrary at one point with the fully automated benefits. If a plant wants to have it, it may take even 5 years. To the contrary, if you look into the warehouse arrangements sufficiently flexible to be used only at the specified location, then within a period of a month you can make things ready. Okay, so the same way, the selection of the local retail locations, which also influence the competitive conditions. So a long-standing belief in the business, in general I'm talking about, is that a firm must have facilities in local market to successfully conduct the business. But the customers felt that unless a supplier maintained inventory in the local market, normally we say local presence paradigm. We say it is a local presence paradigm, which resulted in logistical strategies committed to forward deployment of inventory. So when more focus on availability of the product in the local market, our first focus must be on the inventory part. When a tradition is part of a successful strategy, so in that case, later only different corporates have identified keeping local paradigm as destination is a paradigm shift. They want to move to different parts of the world. So wherein the kind of transportation services keeping the warehouses is different locations, and even the advances happened in the information technology, which were all related to make the corporates to move further ahead in the specific different areas. That means a business, they can do it within the geographical area. The geographical area is not a boundary now, it's not a constraint now. So these points what I have the discussion with you is all about the location where the company has to go in for what kind of decisions which is related with logistics. Now I am taking you to the next decision, warehouse requirements. Warehouses are established in a logistical system to lower the total cost or to improve the customer service. See, in some situation, the benefits of lower cost and improved service can be achieved simultaneously. Warehouses create value for the process they support. And manufacturing requires warehouses to store and sort and sequence materials and the components. Facilities used for inbound materials and components are often referred to as supply-facing warehouses. So warehouses are also used to sort, sequence, and combine the inventory for any kind of consolidated shipment to the next level customers in the supply chain. Warehouses used to support market distribution is often, we say, it is demand-facing warehouses. So we have two different sets of warehouses. One is a supply-facing warehouses where facilities used for only inbound materials and components. In that case, we say it is a supply-facing warehouse. If suppose it is used to support the market distribution to the next level, to next warehouses or to next retailers, then we say it is a demand-facing warehouses. Comparatively, the demand-facing warehouse requirements are directly related to manufacturing and market distribution strategies. So because of the specialized material handling and the inventory process requirements, the warehouses typically specialized in performing either supply or demand-facing services. Warehouses committed to support manufacturing are typically located close to the factories they support. In contrast, warehouses dedicated to marketing distribution are typically strategically located throughout the geographical market area serviced. So the combination of information technology at one end, e-procurement fulfillment, and the response-based business strategies have combined radically alter how and why the warehouses are used. So the economic justification and the desired functionality of a warehouse can be distinctly different for facilities dedicated to procurement, manufacturing, or market distribution. The point what I want to make you very clear here is the warehouses can be either used for inbound material requirements, it can be used for market distribution, that is outbound. I hope this point will make you clear in understanding the base of the role of warehousing decision in integrated logistics. Now I am taking you to the next driver, procurement driver. Procurement drivers center on using the warehouse to help purchase a material and components at the lowest total cost. So the procurement, whenever we talk about, they are the purchasing activity which always be focusing on reducing, minimizing the cost aspect. So sophisticated purchasing executives have long realized that the combination of purchase price, the quantity, the discounts, payment terms, and logistical performance is required to achieve the lowest delivered cost. In an effort to develop and support improved working relationship, most firms have reduced the number of suppliers to do the business they are having. So the logic is to develop a limited number of relationships with supplier who can be operationally integrated into a firm's supply chain. And what is the primary goal? Of course, what we say it is minimizing the total cost. In addition to it, for purchasing or buying or procuring is to eliminate the waste and duplication and unplanned redundancy. On this part, if you're making, which has to be reduced. In an effort to improve the overall operating efficiency, life cycle considerations have become prominent in the purchase decision. This relational dynamic of working with limited supplier, which is based on, we say it is a cradle to grave philosophy. The relationship is positioned to focus on all aspects of life cycle of the product, spanning from a new product development to the reclamation and disposal of the unused materials and unsold the product inventory. So such the life cycle focus is resulting distinct buying practices that directly impact the nature and the functionality of supply-based warehousing. Value-added services related to procurement are increasingly being bundled from the purchase price. So there is also a trend towards response-based business strategies, which are defining the expectations concerning a supplier support and their participation in the value-added process. So now the result is a structural relationship such as the tier 1 supplies and the lead facilitators. And also whenever we talk about the purchase decisions, the seasonality of the product and even this kind of suppliers, and when the opportunity to purchase at the reduced prices and the need to rapidly accommodate a manufacturing spike continue to make selected warehousing of materials, which is contributing a sound logistical decision making. So now the role of supply facing warehouses continues to change. Warehouses were traditionally used to stockpile the raw materials and component parts. This was an earlier case. Today, that facilities place greater emphasis on sorting and sequencing the material as they flow into the manufacturing. So the value-added services will also be part which are taken place in the warehousing place. In many organizations, the unbundling of services from price of the materials has facilitated the outsourcing of warehouse requirements. So warehouse services required to most efficiently support manufacturing, which are increasingly being provided by lead suppliers, or if you have an integrated logistics service provider. So what is the goal of adding this procurement driver as one of the influencing factor in deciding the integrated logistic decision? The goal here is to streamline the flow of material and components by eliminating duplicate handling and storage of identical inventories at multiple locations throughout the material supply network. So these are the points which were related with the procurement drivers. Now I am presenting you the next concept, manufacturing drivers. Warehouses that support manufacturing are used to combine finished product for customer shipment. Mostly we concentrate here is the finished product, what they are keeping it, which were directly make available. You're making it available to the market. So the capability of consolidating is in contrast to individual order shipment, which means a primary advantage of manufacturing demand facing warehouses, the ability to offer customer full line product assortment, which is possible at a single invoice at truckload transportation rate. In fact, a manufacturer capability to provide such consolidation may be the primary reason for its selection as a preferred supplier. Manufacturing firm which is keeping its own warehouse which is capable of supporting a consolidated base warehouse movement, that is the finished product movement from their plant to warehouse distribution, then from their warehouse distribution to retailer or direct customer shipment. Say many examples are there which are doing the demand facing warehouses by General Motors, General Millen, Johnson & Johnson, Kraft, Kimberly-Clark. In India, if you see almost all kind of Unilever companies which are providing this sort of, and even the soft drinks companies which are providing these opportunities. And a specific thing which I want to add it as an example here is in the at Johnson & Johnson. The warehouses are used to support hospital and the consumer business sectors by serving as kind of a consolidators for a variety of different business units. As a result, customers are afforded a full assortment of products from different business units on a single invoice for shipment in one transportation vehicle. So this has reduced the total cost of warehousing, transportation, and also the firm is capable of managing its inventory. The products like Huggies, disposable diapers are manufactured at economy of scale volume and then temporarily are positioned in demand facing warehouses. Customer specific truckloads of assorted products are assembled at the warehouse, and inventories of all the major products are maintained at each branch to facilitate the full service shipments to the customers at any point of time. So here the primary determinant of warehousing requirement is to support the manufacturing. That's a specific production strategy, which was totally focused here. So generally when we talk about manufacturing strategies, either make to plan, MTP, make to order, MTO, and assemble to order, ATO. These are the three basic manufacturing strategies any company can go in with. So either they can go in for make to plan, make to order, assembly to order. The extent of demand-phased warehousing can be directly linked to the support requirement of each manufacturing strategy. In general, if you look into the make-to-order manufacturing strategies, which require supply-facing warehousing and MTP, that is make-to-plan, which focus resources to achieve maximum manufacturing economy of scale, which requires substantial demand-facing warehouse. And of course, the assembly to order, which is mostly going with the demand-facing warehouse specifications. So far what I discussed with you, the manufacturing distribution drivers. Now I am going to give you input on market distribution drivers. Market support warehouses create value by providing inventory assortments to wholesalers and the retailers. So a warehouse located geographically close to customers, which seeks to minimize the inbound transportation cost. How it is possible? By maximizing consolidation and length of haul from manufacturing plant size. And this also depends on the desired service speed, the size of the average order, and the cost per unit of the local delivery. A large number of market distribution warehouses are operated as public or private or contract facilities by the third-party logistics service providers, that is 3PL, 4PL, and the 5PL, with these generations of third-party logistics service providers. So here, regardless of who is operating, whether third party or private or contract or owning their own warehouse, the facility exists to provide an inventory assortment and replenishment to the customers. That's the most important point here. So this kind of integration have made the customer to get the product at his own time. So your warehouse is justified if it offers a way to achieve a competitive service or cost advantage. So this market distribution warehouses, earlier we say a rapid replenishment which is required, which has traditionally provided assortment of products from varied manufacturers and various suppliers for retailers. Say a retail store typically doesn't have sufficient demand to order inventory in large quantities directly from wholesaler or manufacturer. What they do, a typical retail replenishment order is placed with a wholesaler who sells a variety of different manufacturer products. So market support warehouse are common mostly in the food and the mass merchandise industry. The modern food distribution warehouses usually is located geographically near the retail stores it services. So from the central warehouse, the consolidated product assortments can rapidly replenish the retail inventories because of the close geographic proximity. So here from this point I would like to stress one more time. From the central warehouse, the consolidated product assortments can rapidly replenish the retail inventories because of the close geographical proximity. Large retail stores may receive multiple truckloads from the warehouse on a daily basis. So location of the warehouse within the market served is justified as a least cost way to rapidly replenish an assortment of inventory to either an end customer or to the retailer. So this rapid replenishment is one point of discussion which we are having it under our market distribution driver. Clear? Okay. The next point I would like to discuss with you is market based ATO, that is assemble to order. The design of a market distribution warehouse network is directly related to inventory deployment strategy. So the design of any distribution warehouse network is directly linked or related to inventory deployment strategy. So the establishment of market distribution warehouses is a result of forward inventory deployment in anticipation of the future market requirements. So this assumption means a manufacturing unit utilizing such a distributed network to some degree of depending upon anticipatory inventory deployment to offset the response time to meet the customer requirement. So depending on this, the inventories deployed forward after manufacturing are typical in situation where firms are manufacturing to plan and when they are engaged in decentralized assembly to order. So here the point what I'm making you clear is the company can follow assemble to order when decentralization is one of the primary way of doing it. So here undifferentiated components, that is, it's not in a semi-finished product, the product is not in a final shape, which are stocked in warehouse inventory in anticipation of performing customized manufacturing or assembly at the warehouse upon the receipt of customer orders. An increasing amount of ATO operations are performed in market position warehouses as contrasted with centralized manufacturing locations. So whenever this kind of ATO based manufacturing strategy if a company is following, then mostly it will be for a market position warehouse rather than centralized manufacturing locations. So assembly in close proximity to major market allows the benefits of postponement while avoiding the high cost and the time related to long distance direct shipment. So far the points which we discuss related with the market distribution drivers. So to make a clear-cut discussion on the points what we discussed so far, warehouse justification. Warehouses are justified in a logistical system when a service or cost advantage results from their positioning between suppliers, manufacturers, and the customers. Competitive advantage is generated by establishing a warehouse network can result from lower total costs or faster to destination service. From the viewpoint of transportation economies, cost advantage results from using the warehouse to achieve the freight consolidation. However, the freight consolidation typically requires inventory to support the assembly of customized order. Alternatively, consolidation or assortment may be achieved by establishing a flow through facilities or cross-dock sortation that operates without pre-established inventories. So this kind of continuous movement effectively converts the warehouse from inventory storage to mixing facility. So some business situations will justify a combination of inventory storage and continuous flow through, which will effectively economically provide service to customers. So from the perspective of integrated logistics management, The key logistics system design questions. You should ask certain questions which will make you clear in getting the idea of how the warehouses, transportation, and inventory can be linked together to make a common integrated logistics strategy. Maybe some of the questions which I'm asking you, which will keep points ready in your mind. How many and what kind of warehouse should a firm establish? Where should they be located? What services should they provide? What inventories should they stock? And which customers should they service? This sequence of interrelated questions, if you find answers for all the questions, that represents the classical logistics network design challenge. So for manufacturing firm, the network design begins with marketing strategy, continues into manufacturing and procurement planning. And in retailing and wholesaling enterprise, the framework spans from purchasing to market distribution strategies. So in this class of understanding what we started today, I've started giving you an idea of what is a necessary thing which a firm manufacturing unit has to do for integrating the logistics. So the first point related to integrating the logistics, which we had our discussion on enterprise facility network, the early stages, how the transportation has made the decision of location. Then we also started looking into the spectrum of various location decisions. In the earlier days, how it was, the local presence was an necessary paradigm, and later the paradigm shift, which necessitate maybe the globalized economy, which has made every company has to do their business irrespective of the geographical distance, whatever they have carried out. Then what we started our discussion with the warehousing. What are the warehouse requirements? What kind of strategies company has to do, and what type of warehousing is normally available? Maybe one is our demand-based, demand-faced warehousing, or supply-faced warehousing, that is both inbound and the outbound based. Then I have introduced you the procurement drivers. Procurement drivers related with what kind of warehousing the company is going based on what kind of procurement strategies they need to go in for. So that kind of discussion we had it. Then our scope of discussion was on manufacturing drivers. Manufacturing drivers, how different companies used different strategies to keep what type of warehouses. So whenever we talk about manufacturing, the warehouse decision, the logistics decision, purely depending on the type of manufacturing strategy a company is going with. So I've introduced you three different strategies. That is make to plan, make to order, and assemble to order. So depending on each type, the way the company is integrating their logistics decision is totally different. And then finally, I've discussed with you the market distribution drivers. Market distribution again is purely depending on an MTP, that is make to plan strategy. It is totally different. On an MTO condition, the market distribution driver decision is totally varied. And also on the ATO conditions, that is assemble to order, also the market distribution driver conditions are totally different. And when we talk about market distribution, I've stressed 2 points. One is on the rapid replenishment, how quickly the retail outlets or the end customers are capable of getting their products, that lead cycle of a product, how quickly you'll be able to get it. So I hope, and finally, we had a conclusion on warehouse justification based on the location decision, the procurement decision, manufacturing decision, and of course market distribution decision, so which is a real contributor linking with the integrated logistics decision. I hope this kind of discussion will make you clear in integrating the various functions of logistics related with the discussion which we had it in our earlier weeks. Thank you for your listening. Continue your happy learning.